Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I want to talk a little bit about voice actors, and it's such an interesting conversation because I've been recently watching Future Man, and if you haven't seen Future Man, I highly recommend you check it out. But one of the people in Future Man, at least he's in season 1 a little bit, but he's a lot in season 2, is Haley Joel Osment. Obviously, you know him from movies like Sixth Sense, which I always feel weird because I'm like, that was a movie you did when you were a kid, and I feel weird kind of referencing once, but I'm not that good with actors in a lot of their filmography, so that's the thing I kind of best know him for. But I mean, well, other than that, I best know him as, if you're unaware, in Kingdom Hearts, Haley Joel Osment is the English voice actor for Sora. He has been for the past, what, 17 years, basically. But essentially, actually, I think it's 18 now when you actually come think about it. Regardless. Well, the fact of the matter is, the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I just think it's so interesting, because I can't not hear Haley Joel Osment talk and just hear Sora, and it's just so apparent because like this has been the most consistent I've heard him kind of like talk and stuff like in Future Man, so it's weird, and the entire time I'm listening I'm like, I can hear bits of Sora, and especially when his voice gets higher, you definitely hear Sora. It's actually interesting because I'll link to him in the description down below, but there's actually 2 videos on YouTube which are like accidental Sora voice, that basically when Haley Joel Osment is like acting in like moments and stuff where he accidentally kind of does his Sora voice. Like for example, in there's one of those videos, it's actually taken from season 1 of Future Man, and the other ones I think it's from that Ted Bundy movie that Zac Efron did. But nevertheless, specifically, obviously, it's his voice in Kingdom Hearts 3. Because that's the thing about voice actors. There's always going to be a little bit of their voice in every voice. That you can hear it a little bit when you get used to it. Like, you know, like I was saying earlier, like, even when he's just normally talking, I still hear bits of Sora. But the moment he kind of goes a little higher and raises his voice a little bit, I don't know whether the right word would be pitch or octave, but whatever the case may be, when his voice gets raised a little bit, you definitely hear Kingdom Hearts 3 Sora. And I can't get it out of my head. It's one of those things. It's one of those things, like I said, like when you hear voice actor like Phil Lamar, I cannot like unhear Phil Lamar's voice in anything that he does, and I'm just always like, that's Phil Lamar, because you just get used to it from time to time, because like sometimes some of his voices are so close to his own, because even like you use something like Samurai Jack, now that I know it's him, I think that's also the thing of like, once you know it's someone, you can't help but associate that voice with them now. You're just like, oh, you hear it all the time just because. So like for me, when I think Samurai Jack, I definitely hear Phil Lamar, I visualize Phil Lamar now, so like that's kind of that thing, because I think it didn't even click in my head, because it was him in Supergirl, he played Malefic, you know, John Jones' brother. I didn't realize that was him until like after the fact, because he had actually talked about it recently. What was it? I think it was on Fat Man and Beyond. Well, it was Black Man and Beyond, because Kevin was, you know, on the road about, you know, the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, but I think Mark was on taking over, so which was Black Man Beyond at the time, but regardless, he had talked about the fact is it started off as just a voice acting role, but then they were like, oh, would you actually like to pop up in the show? And he's like, cool. So that's why he's actually pops up in himself. Because when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's Phil Lamar. I think at the time it didn't correlate in my head that like, oh, that's Phil Lamar's voice. You know, it's just one of those things, like you just don't kind of pick up on certain things. A recent discovery of mine, and I actually brought this up in the review that this week's The Walking Dead, is I recently found out, similar enough, because of Black Man Beyond, I found out that Karen Payton is the voice of Cyborg. Went the entire time never knowing that. If you're unaware who he is, he plays Ezekiel on The Walking Dead. Did not know that Cyborg's voice actor. Like, that blew my mind. He does other voices too, but I think like Cyborg's the one you probably best know him for, like whether it be the original Teen Titans cartoon or like the video games, or even Teen Titans Go, you know, so it's that type of thing of just like, because there's like, like I said, it's like that with a lot of voice actors, like Laura Bailey is like that for me too, like, even when she kind of does kind of like her, like, I feel weird saying this, kind of like her sexier voices, like Lust, for example, you can definitely hear elements of her own voice in just a lot of her, even when she kind of does like more like higher, like I said, I don't know the proper terminology I should be using when it comes to like, you know, referencing like someone's pitch and octave. I know I'm probably most likely using them wrong, but it's just, this whole, like I said, it's just, this whole thing got me going on this tangent, but like, that's where this all started, with just like, the entire time I'm watching Future Man, I'm hearing Haley Joel Osment, I'm like, it's Sora! Because I'm such a I'm a Final Fantasy fan, but I'm also like a huge Kingdom Hearts stan, so I'm like, dude, I get giddy every time. It's just one of those things, you know. Was there any other point besides that to this video? Not really. Obviously, it's just, you know, it's such an interesting thing to me that I just felt like just sharing it for whatever reason. Actually, I love to get to know some of your favorite voice actors in the comments down below, you know, since we can have a conversation about that. I'm not well versed in that many voice actors, especially like I'm well versed enough in kind of like the more bigger, well-known voice actors, at least here in the States. I'm not even that familiar with like Japanese voice actors like that, but I love to actually get to know like your favorite voice actors and what your favorite roles are from them. I mean, it doesn't have to just be an anime thing. It could just be like oh, like they've done plenty of TV shows type of things. Like like a great example, like John DiMaggio, just like the ridiculous like amount of characters he's played over. Hell, if not him, Tara Strong, like the long list of voices she's done, it's fucking bananas. But nevertheless, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.